In December 1900, 3 men were stationed at the Eilean Mor Lighthouse, located on one of the small islands in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. The lighthouse was isolated, surrounded by rough seas and steep cliffs. The men assigned there were experienced lighthouse keepers, trained to handle difficult weather conditions and the loneliness of remote posts. Their names were James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur. Each had years of experience in maritime operations, and all had previously served in harsh environments. Despite their training and professionalism, all 3 disappeared without a trace, leaving behind one of the most puzzling unsolved mysteries in maritime history. The Eilean Mor Lighthouse was critical for ships navigating the surrounding waters. Its purpose was to warn vessels of dangerous rocks and guide them safely through the channels. The island itself was small and rocky, with few natural resources. Winter brought storms, snow, and heavy winds that could isolate the lighthouse for days at a time. The lighthouse keepers were expected to maintain the light, perform routine maintenance, and keep records of weather and ship movements. The isolation was extreme, and only a few supply ships visited during the winter months. On December 15, 1900, a supply vessel arrived as scheduled to deliver provisions and check on the men. No answer came from the lighthouse. Repeated signals and attempts to reach the keepers failed. Concerned, the captain contacted the Northern Lighthouse Board, which dispatched investigators to the island. When they finally arrived, they found a scene that was both ordinary and inexplicably strange. The lighthouse was locked from the inside. Beds were undisturbed. Meals had been prepared but not eaten. Equipment and personal belongings were left behind. Nothing appeared to have been taken or disturbed violently. Despite this, all 3 men were missing. Investigators examined the exterior of the lighthouse. Snow covered the ground, but footprints were found leading away from the building. In some areas, the footprints ended abruptly, as if the men had disappeared into thin air. There were no signs of struggle, no signs of boats being prepared for departure, and no evidence that the men attempted to leave the island in a conventional way. The diary of one keeper included notes about strong winds and occasional unease, but nothing that predicted such an event. Communication with the outside world was limited, and the remote location made immediate rescue or search efforts difficult. Over the years, various theories emerged to explain the disappearance. One of the most cited explanations is an avalanche or snow slide. Some researchers argue that a sudden shift in snow or rocks could have forced the men to leave the lighthouse in a hurry. However, the interior of the lighthouse did not show evidence of panic or damage that such a scenario would likely produce. The snow outside was examined, and while some footprints were present, they did not fully support the avalanche theory. No bodies were ever found on the island or surrounding waters. Another theory suggests foul play. Some speculated that the men could have been attacked by other individuals, but the island was extremely isolated, making the presence of outsiders unlikely. There were no reports of additional people in the area at that time, and the geography of the island made access difficult. No weapons or signs of a struggle were found inside the lighthouse. The possibility of criminal activity remains speculative and unproven. Some theories fall into more unusual categories. Paranormal explanations propose that the men were affected by some unknown force or that supernatural events occurred on the island. Other speculative ideas include alien abductions or mysterious environmental phenomena. While these ideas capture public imagination, they have no documented evidence and remain in the realm of conjecture. A psychological explanation has also been suggested. Isolation, extreme weather, and mental fatigue can affect judgment and behavior. Some researchers propose that a combination of stress and environmental factors could have led the men to make dangerous decisions or flee the lighthouse. But this does not explain the complete disappearance of 3 experienced adults in good health. Despite repeated searches and investigations, no definitive evidence has ever been found. The lighthouse keepers did not return, and no bodies or personal effects were discovered. The Northern Lighthouse Board conducted inquiries, but the case remains officially unsolved. Over time, the story of Eilean Mor has become a subject of books, documentaries, and research papers. Historians continue to debate the most plausible explanation, while paranormal enthusiasts often cite it as one of the strangest vanishings in recorded history. The impact of the Eilean Mor disappearance extended beyond the immediate event. It highlighted the extreme dangers faced by lighthouse keepers in remote locations. It also brought attention to the difficulty of communication and supply in isolated maritime posts. While most lighthouses functioned without incident, Eilean Mor became a case study in the risks inherent to such work. In addition, the event captured public imagination, influencing folklore and inspiring stories of the sea and its mysteries. Several subsequent investigations attempted to recreate the conditions on the island. Weather records show that storms were frequent, and some reports indicate that December 1900 was particularly harsh. Searches of surrounding islands and waters revealed nothing unusual. No ship logs or eyewitness accounts provided additional clues. The disappearance of the keepers remains a singular event, with no precedent or repetition in nearby areas. The story of the Eilean Mor lighthouse keepers continues to fascinate researchers, writers, and the general public. It raises questions about human behavior, the power of nature, and the limitations of historical investigation. What exactly happened on that small, rocky island remains unknown. The combination of isolation, environmental hazards, and unexplained circumstances makes this case uniquely compelling. It remains a historical enigma that challenges logic and invites speculation. In conclusion, the disappearance of James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur from the Eilean Mor Lighthouse in December 1900 is one of the most mysterious cases in maritime history. No evidence fully explains their fate. Theories range from natural disasters to foul play to paranormal events, but none are conclusive. The lighthouse remains standing, a silent witness to a mystery over a century old. For those who study unsolved historical cases, the Eilean Mor incident serves as a reminder of the limits of human understanding and the enduring mysteries of isolated environments. The keeper's fate may never be known, Yet the story continues to capture the imagination of anyone who confronts the raw power of nature and the fragility of human life in remote locations.